An apple is an apple, and a pear is a pear. Growing up, I thought I was a pear. Planted into a colony with 1 year left on its lease, the last piece of a now dismantled empire. My mother was an apple, my father a pear, and as I sprouted, I took his name, spoke his language, and remained in a precious little bubble filled with fruits of all kinds, coconuts, bananas, grapes and guavas, who spoke, learned and thought only in pear, content in our small little world, blind to the apples outside of our borders. The only time I ventured out was living with my mother in a big apple orchard with no pears in sight. I was massive, tall, green, sticking out like a sore thumb, eyes everywhere, stairs everywhere, stepping into a lift to the 22nd floor, head down, gnawing at skin red and raw. 20 years? It didn't matter. For when I dared look up into the whites of their eyes, I could only see green reflected back. So, in my 21st year, I moved with a purpose to the land of pears, hoping to find some peace of mind, some belonging. Because looking like a pear, talking like a pear, with a pearish name and pearish blood, I assumed that I would fit right in. I was wrong. I found, instead, that the pears could tell that I wasn't from their land and did not treat me as one of their own. I first heard the word Oriental when I was 22, not used to describe a carpet, but a person. At lunch, she called me Chinaman fondly, as if that word wasn't outdated and offensive, and me getting defensive was so dramatic. And I came to realize that the world was not as I expected, that I was not as I expected. For it was only in the eyes of apples that I was so pearish, and in the eyes of pears, I was an apple. But it was so simple in the beginning. To be born meant to die on a single patch of land, surrounded by skies, forests and sand. Claws scuttling, roars mighty, terrifying, everything. But at least we were with others, just like us, who looked like us, who thought like us, who sounded, wept and laughed like us. And with time, we learn not only to survive, but to thrive. Bare and blistered hands, we cut, twisted, forged mighty ships. And in the hopes of something grand, we sailed across oceans and discovered that there were others in their own little worlds who weren't like us. They did not look like us. They did not sound like us. So they must not be like us. They are lower than us. They are animals where we are men, and we will take, rape and pillage every last stinking morsel of land, and they will surrender or they will die. And over centuries we discovered more, fought more, traded more, and eventually we began to move away from our patches of land. Millions upon millions, risking death, dysentery, disembowelment, deceit, a dream made reality. For the light of opportunity far outweighed the fear of the unknown. And we began to settle, to mix, to breed. And so currently, in our year 2021, our Earth is not as simple as it once was, but complex, unalike, and beautiful. And with a history marred by violence, defined by difference, it's no wonder why we still need to know. What are you? What is he? What is she? What are they? Are you an apple or a pear? A pear or a grape? With all our colours and shapes, we march in opposite directions, cheering on difference, but only if we know how. Consider a box. 4 little cardboard flaps, fold it this way and that, and at the drop of a hat, creasing that corner, slotting it neatly, we have a person. Stay. Or 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. We're working with an old model right now, so let me add you to our binary code, and I'll be very careful it doesn't overload. Your label is bigger than you. You're not a human being, you're a word, and my treatment of you is not unconditional. The only difference between giving you the time of day or staying far, far away is if you take an A or a B, a C or a D. So is that why I'm here? Do I tick all your boxes? To be mixed race is to have division sewn into your blood before you ever take your first breath. So ask yourselves, in your system of binary, did we ever stand a chance? 2 halves do not make one whole. To think that we can claim both parts of ourselves equally, easily, consider a man with a white mother for a shade of skin he did not choose, spat at, laughed at, heckled, half-caste, coloured, different, desperate for acceptance. He never got it. And you think that he can claim that part of himself? Or a young woman walking in a wet market, a Chinese man beside. They tucked, tickled, amused that Guaymuis have such low standards these days, never making the connection. And for a shade of skin she did not choose, she has never experienced racism in her entire life, because she has always passed as white. You've folded us up, corner by corner, box by box, zeros and ones, and repeat ad infinitum. Did we ever stand a chance? A pear in the eyes of apples, an apple in the eyes of pears. The words are always there, not quite English enough, not quite Chinese enough. I am never enough. Because the truth is that you have defined us long before we could have ever defined ourselves. And you have always defined us by our difference. I have no answers for you today, only questions. Have we ever faced the limitations of our system? Or is binary encoded into our very biology? Do we require labels to understand that which we don't know? And is equality without measure equality at all? Or may we hope to see a day where difference is never questioned, identified, or measured, only accepted in all of its complexities. It is what it is. I am not a part of your binary. An outsider looking in, I dreamt once that I could be, but I don't think that's real now. And I wonder what I may pass down to my children, and if they will live in fractions or appear as whole numbers. But I think I know my power. For when I look out across our world, I do not see boxes, I do not see numbers, I see spectrums. 7.794 billion spectrums. Each different, each infinite. So in the end, what I'd really like to impart is that identity is a precious work of art. Always hold a person above a label and know that what at first may look like an apple is not an apple, and a pear not a pear.